Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Coach Me Plus. Coach Me Plus is the leader in athlete management software and a product that we've been lucky enough to implement here for over 2 years now. The product in and of itself is exactly what you need it to be, guys, with options ranging from being a workout provider, as in sending the workout directly to the student athletes' phones, to being a place where you can communicate with them and bring together multiple streams of data to be its own dashboard for you, your coaching staff, or the athletes. Or you can use what we've added to our menu of Coach Me Plus activities, and that's the hydration station, where all of this information that is provided is based off of research from the Corey Stringer Institute, where we're looking at weighing in versus weighing out and then providing optimal hydration strategies for the student athletes by them selecting through the menu and tapping on what they'll take home with them and what they're consuming prior to the next practice when all the numbers at the top are lined up green. It's something we've had really good success with and the kids have really bought in on. Just another great example of the awesome product that you can find at CoachMePlus.com. Guys, hop over to CoachMePlus.com today and check it out. It's a product I guarantee you won't be disappointed with. Hey everybody, if you enjoy the podcast and the content it provides, be sure to hop over and check out the community. The community is an exclusive members website that is just an extension of what we do here in July at the Central Virginia Sport Performance Seminar. What it is a combination of video lectures, a coach's corner with your Monday morning take-home information, and a forum where you can talk about anything and everything related to the field of strength and conditioning. In the community, you'll find content added each month from some of the top practitioners in the world, ranging from PhDs to high-level coaches, bringing you exactly what they're doing with their athletes or their research at the present moment. On top of that, an additional discussion by coaches bringing you that Monday morning information, things that you can add to your training program right away. Tying that in with the opportunity to discuss with coaches around the world in the forum on anything and everything from the topics addressed in these presentations to whatever you're seeing in your daily life as a coach. If this sounds like the right thing for you and your staff, go ahead and hop over to cvasps.com/community and try it out for 48 hours for just $1. If you like it, you're signed up, ready to roll, and you're jumping into all the great content added each month. If not, feel free to go ahead and cancel at any time. No questions asked. We're really excited about what we're building in the community and hope you are too. Go ahead and hop over to cvasps.com/community and check it out today. Hello and welcome to the podcast. Today, guys, I have the absolute pleasure of sitting down and talking with Tim DiFrancesco about everything training, his life in the NBA, and building a business. Guys, Tim is doing some awesome stuff up in Boston right now, building a killer facility, putting together a fantastic staff. And we start talking about his life in the NBA, lessons he learned there, and how that carries into the business world. Tim's going to touch on everything from training to relationships to leadership, and really how taking a step back and learning from the Hall of Famers that he had the absolute pleasure of working with out there in LA really impacted him professionally and personally. You know, and whenever you get the opportunity to work with someone who is one of the best ever at something, they're going to leave a big imprint on you. And of course, me being an absolute fanboy, I had to ask some Kobe Bryant stories, and he shares some absolutely fantastic stuff there. You know, and then we get into what his thoughts are on monitoring and assessment and how that works at TD Athletes Edge up in Boston. And then we finish off, talking about the projects they're doing when it comes to education. And they're doing a ton up there, guys. I'm going to put all the links to everything Tim mentions in the show notes. Make sure you check that out. Guys, if you do enjoy the talk, please send it to somebody, because I think that Tim's an absolute gem of the profession, and I hope you guys enjoy this talk as much as I did. Let's get right to it. Tim, thank you so much for being with us today, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, dude, stoked for this, man. Like, you moved across country, you got a whole new thing going. Let's talk about what's going on with TD Athletes Edge.
No, I appreciate it, Jay. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind of the last 6 or 8 months. I wrapped up the 6 seasons I had in LA with the Lakers as the head strength coach there, and just one of those things where I had an amazing experience and opportunity there that I think when I took that position, it was my career Super Bowl at the time, and then as I got towards the end of the 6 years, it was starting to itch and kind of burn in the back of my mind and heart and gut to say, um, this stuff that has always been my side gig with TD Athletes Edge and that platform that's been sort of taken a few different versions over the years. I wanted to be able to do more with that, and I think it was as great as it was with the Lakers. It was also, you know how it is. I mean, it's limiting when you're in that kind of hamster wheel and you're just keeping everything moving, and you got 12, 15, maybe 20 guys depending on time of year, and that's your job, and those guys are all you have time for. And I was looking for a chance to get out to a broader audience and just kind of make a bigger impact beyond 15 NBA players. And so very thankful for my time with the Lakers, but it was a great opportunity for me to get back to where I'm from on the East Coast here now, and my family plays a big role with that too. My daughter Avery is almost 18 months old now, and so getting her closer to grandparents and uncles and aunts and the whole like was a big factor there too. So that's kind of been what's happened in the last 6-8 months, and really excited about what we're doing with TD Athletes Edge and our performance team growing slowly, and really excited about it.
Yeah, man, that's wild to go from the East Coast to the left coast and back in
Yeah,
that amount of time. I can only imagine with the little one how that went as well.
right, right, yeah,
But when we're looking at the whole grand scheme of things, I mean, like, that's the Lakers.
yes.
I mean, like, other than that other team that's kind of by where you are right now, I mean,
Yeah.
like that's the Lakers. Coming out of that, what are some things that you took away from work? I mean, and you got to work with arguably, I mean, well, not arguably, he's definitely like top 10 of all time, but
Yeah,
like arguably top five, like starting five, all NBA.
right.
Like, what are some things that you took away from that are now, when you come into this completely different atmosphere that you're building, with your team,
Yeah,
how do those things carry over? And where are some nuances and intricacies that come separately?
I think one of the big things is just being able to wear many hats and being able to um, eh, kind of be in that fast-paced environment and figure out how to keep your snorkel nearby and keep your head above water in that environment. And that parlays really nicely to the private sector of having to build your own brand, build your own audience, and build your own business. And I think be having the ability to pivot and be able to take a curveball when it comes, and not only that, be excited about a curveball when it comes is something that you better be able to do if you're going to go at any college level strength and conditioning position or pro level strength and conditioning position, because the curveballs come in hot and they come in fast and furious. And if that's a problem, if that's going to get you rattled, if that's going to be something that with really no routine or structure to it all, every day is different. It's a fluid environment. If you're going to think you can sit down and periodize out a 4-month program, you can probably just forget it. And so all that stuff has helped me a lot. And I also think being able to be around, like you said, the guys that I was around, I really am a fan of, and I try to be a student of craftsmen or people that are just damn good at what they do. And on top of that, I've always been a fan of people that I would sort of qualify as really good leaders. And so the Steve Nashes, the obviously the Kobe's and the Meta World Peace and Pau Gasol's, like I had a chance to see those guys in action and be able to see even guys that you wouldn't think of. Ronnie Price is a guy that it wouldn't be on a lot of people's radar, but has skill sets in either being a great teammate, being a great leader, being great at what they do, and I had a chance to kind of take notes right? See what they did well, what made them great in those skill sets, and what, at the same time, any good leader will tell you I have some big weaknesses as well. And so I was able to see what guys didn't do well, and why that didn't work as being a teammate or being in a leadership type position. So that for me was really fun to be able to see that stuff and then be in this. This isn't TD Athletes Edge is not a one man band, and that we are a performance team, and that's what I love about it. That's what I crave, and that's what I am so proud of what we're starting to build here, which is this team of people that can affect impact and bring impact to a greater audience of people, the end users, in a way that is useful, in a way that helps them. And so being a part of the team, and me being in the locker rooms over those periods, whether I was with the Bakersfield Jam or the LA Lakers, that was so valuable for me, because I could see what worked and what didn't work. And I always say to people, I think it's equally as valuable to see bad scenarios, bad environments, systems that don't work, as it is to be around some system that works perfectly and is smooth and is one of the best systems out there in whatever you're talking about. Because for you to be able to see what didn't work and why, as you go in to try to be a part of your own system and a system that you're trying to be a part of, was really important for me.
Oh, no doubt. Especially too, because you could just get blinded by the fact that something works someplace and think that it's just going to plug and
Yes.
play.
Yes.
That doesn't always happen.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
Not just with
I
places
agree.
either, but like year to year, team to team.
No doubt. No doubt. And that chemistry piece was always fascinating to me, where you had all of a sudden, this group that really struggled. There's a couple of slight tweaks in the group, and then all of a sudden, basically the same group does, drastically different. I mean, in a given year. So I think in a given 2 year period. So yeah, I mean, it's fascinating to me.
Yeah, and that makes it a lot of fun.
It does.
So let's now connect all that.
Yeah.
So we're moving forward. We're back in Massachusetts.
Yep.
What came with you from LA?
Yeah, I think this idea that what I learned when I was at the NBA level was it wasn't about me taking freak athletes and making them freakier in the weight room. It was about me helping people that were really good at this skill set, damn good at this skill set, be protected and prepared to do that skill set. So for me, when we translate that lesson, and that it's kind of what I saw in the curriculum that for me with the that we see, where at TD Athletes Edge now we have a physical location outside of Boston, and we're really excited about, through just word of mouth, the numbers that we're getting in the door. And we're not servicing 15 NBA athletes in that audience necessarily, but we're the thing that sort of is a common denominator is performance is whatever the performance definition for each person is. It's very easy to get wrapped up. You're in charge of the floor on the weight room. You're in charge of writing a program. You're in charge of a bunch of an audience, whether they are pro basketball players or whether they are pro business people that go kick ass at a desk job every day. Whichever one, your job is to prepare them and protect them to do what their performance is and what they want to do. And I think it's easy to get caught up in this notion that, well, I'm going to take this person and I'm going to, in 30 days, I'm going to make them have such drastic results. So for me to do that, I've got to write up this flashy, awesome program. And then all of a sudden, day one, you realize, like, I bit off a little more than this person should be chewing right now. And so just staying rooted to the basics. And once I got through that at the NBA level and realized like it's okay to do that with NBA players, it became much more easy for me to frame that in any other audience as well. We say all the time, every human's an athlete, but every person, every human has a different starting point. So, understanding what their starting point is and understanding that being rooted in the fundamentals and the basics of strength and moving heavy weight responsibly is okay. Every exercise we choose doesn't have to be some viral YouTube video. So that's, I think, what I learned and sometimes learned the hard way. And because you get sort of intoxicated with the fact that, okay, I've got these NBA guys, I've got to impress them. They're freak shows, so I got to do some sort of a freak show workout, and at the end of the day, a lot of those guys just need to like hinge and squat and lunge and push and pull stuff and do it the right way.
It's amazing how it always comes back to the basics.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when you look at these evaluations to figure out where these people are starting,
yeah,
how do you do that?
So our assessment when you walk into our space at TD Athletes Edge is going to be a 60-minute, really fairly comprehensive assessment. At the same time, it's not, when I say comprehensive, it doesn't mean that it's complex necessarily. So in other words, it doesn't have to be complicated things that we're asking them to do, super advanced things that we're asking them to do, but we just need to see how they move. We need to have them on the table, move them around, and then have them move themselves around, essentially. And I tend to speak fairly simply because that's how my mind works, but that's really what we're doing. But we're taking a comprehensive but simple look at how they move and how they move themselves. And that gives us the roadmap. I mean, we're not married to one assessment tool or another. We really, through that hour, we end up at the end of the hour-long assessment, we're essentially taking them through a abbreviated, very, very entry-level workout that are the basic movements and different upper and lower body actions. And we're assessing. And we also tell our clients all the time, your assessment does not stop at the end of this hour. Your assessment really is never going to stop with us. We're assessing you as we see how you respond to the dosing and to the prescription of exercise that we give you. And we're not claiming to, on phase 1 or phase 21, know exactly how your body's going to respond. I mean, that's one of the things that I've been interested in kind of comparing and thinking about myself lately is that the comparison of medicine and and sort of actual sort of MD based medicine and how that's evolved over the years to comparing that to how exercise prescription and fitness and training and strength and conditioning prescription has evolved. And I think it's a little dangerous if anybody in either of those spaces suggests that this isn't trial and error. I mean, we know some stuff, and we also know some stuff's going to change like tomorrow, based on evidence and research and all that stuff. So, therefore, it's just you've got to be okay with admitting and being comfortable with that. We're going to always do our best to make the best assessment and then make the best judgment on what we're going to prescribe based on that assessment that's in front of us. But at the same time, knowing that not every great exercise is great for every person. So there is going to be a bit of that. And I think it's easier. It's easier for the client or the athlete to hear that ahead of time versus them walking in and they see a white coat for a medical doctor, or they see a personal trainer, a strength coach, whatever it is, who's at the top of their game. They're assuming like, okay, great, whatever they give me is going to absolutely be the perfect thing. Maybe not.
Yeah.
We're in this together, and that's kind of our message at TD Athletes Edge is we're going to turn over every stone. We're going to look at the assessment part ongoing after that 1 hour assessment, but that's really the initial. But it's always going to be an assessment. It's always going to be a sort of feedback, a monitoring system to allow us to see how you're responding to the dosing that we're giving you, but also see how you respond to the dosing that you're putting on yourself when you leave the 1 hour session that you have with us, whether it's the 1 hour assessment or 1 hour workout. Like, you're probably sitting a bunch. You're probably doing some other activities like walking your dog or going for a jog or going to play basketball with your buddies or whatever it is. So we need to recognize that all those things go into the bucket, and we want to see how you're responding to all of it.
No, that's fantastic. And then you talk about how they respond and how they're responding. How much is this feedback based, and how much of this is inquisitive analysis by you and your team?
A lot of it is feedback based, and our sort of core group that's in the trenches right now with myself and Matt Ibrahim, who's been on your show, and Caitlin Weiss, who is really in charge of our sports science and research area of things. We're constantly doing anecdotal sort of monitoring where, hey, how are you feeling? Where do you feel that? Or how was what we did yesterday interpreted? But also Caitlin helps us to kind of backload that with, and if you're not familiar with Caitlin's stuff, definitely check out Caitlin Weiss. She's helping us to really get a subjective sort of monitoring aspect to what we're doing with our clients, so that we have a freeway for them to send information to us other than just, hey, how are you? Because I think that's super valuable. And I think that can't be overlooked. Hey, how are you doing? How are things? How's the body feel? I think that's very valuable, but it's also very valuable to backload that with a more formal, multiple sort of question, kind of multiple choice based response and athlete monitoring tool. That's a subjective monitoring tool that gives us a little bit deeper information. Also gives us something we can quantify. It gives us something we can track and say, okay, here's where things started to get a little bit rocky, a little bit bumpy. What was going on with those responses? Was there a trend? Was there something that we could have picked up ahead of time? And then next time we start to see the wheels get a little bit bumpy on something, then or hopefully we can kind of see ahead before the things get a little bumpy.
No doubt. Now, with those, how do you think, because like what's crazy with all that stuff
Yeah.
is determining the signal versus the noise when it comes
Yeah.
to that. So, how do you guys think moving forward that'll evolve?
So I think that whole piece of monitoring workload on a human being has to be rooted in the subjective tried and true methods. And there's a lot of noise and kind of hectic things that are going on in wearable technologies and things like that supposedly give you this information that a salesman tells you it does, and then you bank on the fact that that's in fact what's happening. And I'm not knocking any of the technologies. I'm just saying that if you haven't rooted your athlete monitoring strategies in the subjective format of things, and then start from there, and then really quickly evaluate the technology, the actual software, hardware technologies that you add into what you might apply to somebody's, a GPS unit or whatever, then if you're just relying on there's no subjective aspect to what you're collecting, the data that you're collecting, and then I think you're missing a big part of it, because I think it just doesn't have a stable foundation that way, because there is so much noise to what happens when you put a technology on a body and then have it move around. Is that in fact collecting what they say it is? Is it collecting other things that are happening by accident? Is it, whatever it is? And so I think that's what we really look to. We're not as interested in, we certainly will and have, sort of a process of using some what people would call bells and whistles, but at the same time, that's not where we hang our hat either. We're using that in certain cases to support the subjective athlete monitoring strategies that are pretty basic, wellness questionnaire type things. So
I love that. And, because one thing that I can definitely attest to is when you're looking at different forms of readiness, and I just talked with, another guy about this just recently here in the last couple of days. It'll be a show that's going to be one or two before this.
Yeah.
But Mladen was talking about all these monitoring things and what you need to be worried about is inception, right?
Yeah.
Like with the predictive stuff and all of that, where it's like,
Right.
well, you did this, or your HRV is that, or
Right.
you're here, so now you have a 70% chance of being worse at something or getting hurt at something.
Yeah.
That's why, like, when we did it, if the questionnaires were off, it started a conversation.
Yeah.
If any of the biological stuff was off, it started hey man, let's feel this warm up out, and then tell me how you're feeling.
No doubt.
Because it's like,
I love that.
yeah, we had a kid jump a 45.5 6 weeks after Liz Frank surgery.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all training. And
Always is.
yeah, all training. Thanks, mom and dad. But it's like he was triple reds that day
Yeah. Yeah.
on his readiness
Yeah.
reading, and I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, like we're 2 weeks out. If you don't want to do this,
Right.
he just looked at me and goes, because we set it like the combine, like
Yeah.
NBA or the NFL combine,
Yeah.
so it's 42
Yeah.
at the top. He's
Yeah.
like, I bet you I can get that top one with my first jump. If I do that, I'll keep going.
Right.
And I just looked at him like, okay. And he went up, and it was like, poof, and I was like,
No problem.
okay,
Okay.
let's
Right.
go.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's got to be that internal monitor is, they know best, and so yeah, I love that. I just love that, and I think that it just gets a little bit away from people at times where sometimes it's because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. Sometimes it's because you want to kind of make sure that the athletes themselves are impressed by what you're doing. I mean, I've been guilty of all that. I mean, but what I've learned from that is if you just take a step back and stay rooted to the really, really like non-sexy stuff, then you can build in some flashy stuff later. But like that tends to be better.
Yeah, because you can always, you can always do more tomorrow, but you can't do less yesterday.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true.
You know.
Yeah.
So
So
listen, I would be remiss if we didn't do this. So we got about 5 more minutes.
yeah,
We have an odd connection with Mister 8 and the Richmond Spiders. The second leading scorer of all time at Lower Merion High School was a player for us for 4 years. Now, a step below, okay?
okay, okay.
But I need to hear, what was your favorite moment dealing with Mr. Bryan?
Right, right. Okay, this is a good one. So, well, one of the ones that I will always remember was we got waxed one night in Memphis. Get on the plane. Hopefully, I think maybe we're in the air by midnight. Head to Chicago. By the time bags are delivered, lights are getting shut off. You're 3 a.m. in Chicago. Somewhere around 10 after 4, I get a text from Kobe, and he says, "What are you doing?" Thinking to myself, "What the hell do you think I'm doing?" About to go into a coma here, but I'm like about to sleep, and so he's like, "All right, meet me in the weight room, and I want to get a workout." So I go down to the lobby, and I hear piano playing. Like, I'm thinking, there's no way they're paying somebody to sit here and play the piano right now in the lobby. So whoever's just playing this ridiculous rendition of some amazing tune here is pretty impressive. And it's Kobe waiting for me, playing the piano, amazing song and tune, and then he's ready for me to go. We're gonna get a workout in. We, hit a great weight room session. 4:30 to 5:30 a.m. And he grabs breakfast, gets a little sleep, and we go play the Bulls the next day. So, that day technically. So I mean, that was just like I wasn't at that point. That type of thing from him didn't really surprise me. It was he's sitting there figuring out why we lost by that much against Memphis, what he could have done different. He's saying, I got to get a lift in. Number one, I got to keep my body ready. Last thing I need to be doing is sitting here wallowing and sleeping. I need to get some action. So, that was a classic Kobe story right there.
That's unbelievable. So let me ask you this then. Following up on that,
Yeah.
when you have these young kids come in, because now this generation is a little different. I mean, like when
Yep.
we were coming up, I was going to play in the NHL.
Right. Right.
I wasn't the next Ray Bork.
Right.
Like I was smart enough to know, like, that dude's the GOAT. Like,
Yeah.
what do you do when these young kids come in and they think they're Kobe?
Yeah. Yeah. There's really two scenarios that play out there, and one of them is because at the root of it, when they walk in and they have that thought process, is like they have no knowledge of and awareness of especially when I was with Kobe in his last, say, 4 years, nobody saw the stuff that he did to get to that. And so that was the tricky part. You had a lot of young guys coming in being like, all right, he's definitely the GOAT, and like he lives a pretty sweet life. Like he just comes in, shoots all the time, shoots every ball he touches when he gets on the court, and then takes a helicopter home. Like that's kind of cool. So they don't see the 15 years prior to the last 5. They don't see what happened, what he did at either before school, after school, at midnight at Lower Merion. They don't see that stuff, and they so the two scenarios that roll out are, well, I'm super skilled, and so was he, and why couldn't I kind of just fall into that career? And then the other, and that a lot of times doesn't end well because they don't link any of the work that went into that career. And then the other thing is, wow, this guy's a lot better than I even thought he was. I've got a lot of work to do, so I better get at it. And so the guys that looked at it that way and said, why couldn't I be Kobe someday? Wow, he's ridiculous. Like he's all that and then some when I see him up in person, but so what? Why couldn't I be that guy? They're sort of looking at it as like, I could always get better. I have a chance at being that if I play my cards right, if I work my ass off, if I put these reps in. And that's all Kobe did. I mean, he just out-repped people, whether it was in the weight room or on the basketball court after hours. He just out-repped people, and he I didn't see really at the level of his, that was this ability to be ridiculously focused on just the one basic thing in front of him. I mean, he would shut his eyes sometimes in the weight room. He would shut his eyes during exercises, lifts that would just allow him to just be so zeroed in on the exercise. And that's how serious he took being focused on just the one thing he was doing. Picture that guy's day. I mean, the number of texts coming in, the number of stuff on media opportunities and all this other stuff that are pulling him in 20 different directions every hour. And it'd be real easy to be like, yeah, I'm in my 15th year, 16th year, 17th year. I'm going to just kind of breeze through. I'm going to go on cruise control through this workout right now. I've done it a million times, whatever. But he was locked in like it was the first time he stepped into a weight room before.
It's freaking amazing.
I mean, and I think that's the piece that from him that young guys needed to take most was that he's not doing anything earth-shattering. He's just doing more of it with more focus than everybody else.
Thank you.
And that's what I saw.
That's that's amazing because it's, you know, to hear a guy who, like, let's be completely honest here.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of people that were really good at basketball before guys with shaved heads and beards yelled at them to pick things up and put them back down.
Right.
And when you're as good as that man is,
Yep.
for you to be focused on things that are tertiary to
Right.
developing your craft
Right.
shows you that it actually does matter. Everything that you do, if you want to be good, matters.
Yes. Yeah. No, it does. The little basic stuff, most of all. And I think it's also human nature to whether you're a basketball player trying to make a roster at a different level, or whether you're starting a new business, to say, well, let's try to let me try to multitask here, and let's try to do a little bit of everything. As we, if you use the basketball player analogy, like coach said, I got to get a better handle, I got to get a better jump shot outside of 12 feet, I got to get better at rebounding. So every day I'm going to like equally spend the same amount of time at all those things. And then you end up being a B plus at all of those. And there's only so many levels you're going to get to if you're a B plus. And so instead, if you say, well, what's the one thing I need to be better at right now, right this second, if I could be better at this one thing, it would make my game easier and better. What is it? And then just pour yourself into it. And we're not, as humans, designed to be multitaskers. And we are designed to be capable of, but have better results from staying focused on the one big, huge, giant, important thing that and there's a book that I love that I tell people to read all the time called The One Big Thing. And it's just basically talking about that idea. It's because it's like this romantic idea that we're all gonna. It's so it's like a badge of honor if you say, well, I did 800 things today, and I got through them all. I checked all the boxes. Well, yeah, but did you do an A+ job in any of them?
Yeah.
You know.
Dude, 100%. Because you could always do more, but if it's more shit, who cares?
Who cares? Absolutely.
Yeah. Other than the guy that's got to clean up the shit, nobody cares.
You're right.
You know?
It's so true.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tim, this is awesome. I can't thank you
Oh,
enough, bro.
it's been great.
This is so cool. And this was a long time coming, brother. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah.
And this is great. People are gonna love it. I can't thank you enough for being so open and candid. And this is great, buddy. Thank you so much for taking the time with us today.
No, my pleasure. I'm gonna just kind of let people know where they can get at me and
100%.
follow along what we're doing. So, just in terms of cross social media, at TD Athletes Edge is Instagram, super active there. Twitter, very active there, and our YouTube channel, we're getting lots of good instructional and demonstration based video up there as well. Facebook, our website, www.tdathletesedge.com. In any of those locations, though, the big thing is we just love to interact, and that's what we're there for. We're not there. We're there to share our thoughts and engage in thoughts and engage in discussions with people. So that's how we learn, and we're trying to promote that in the field and into bigger audiences. So, scope us out on any of those spots. And we also have a podcast of our own, which, Jay, we're going to have to get you on there on Edge Factor Radio.
Awesome.
So that's on iTunes, and check us out on Edge Factor Radio as well. And the other thing that I throw out there is I run this insider mentorship program. So for any coaches that are sort of entry level or student entry level, first couple of years in the field, trying to put it together, trying to figure out how do they navigate towards whatever their career Super Bowl is. I have a lot of people that I look back and say I'm very thankful and wouldn't be here if I didn't have people that acted as mentors to me. And so the insider mentorship program that I run on our platform is my way of kind of getting to as many people as I can to kind of pay it back. And so if that's at all, info@tdathletesedge.com is the email, but a direct message on Instagram will get directly to me as well. And we love to hear from people. We love to interact and help. So we'd love to hear from anybody.
He's not lying. That's how we got in touch.
Yep.
The DMs on Instagram, man.
That's where it is.
Dude, people sleep on that. Like, they joke. I get that question all the time, bro. They're like, yeah, but how did you get to talk to that guy? I'm like, I messaged them on Instagram or Facebook.
Right.
They're like, they responded? I'm like, yeah,
Right.
I don't know if you know this or not, but most people aren't assholes.
Right.
Like,
Right.
we want to help. And it's like,
Exactly.
they're cool people. But yeah, there's going to be a link to all that below. Tim, you guys are killing it up there, man. And this episode is fire. I can't thank you enough, bro. This is great. Thank you so much for the time.
Love it.
And the candidness, man. I really appreciate it.
Jay, thank you. This is it's an honor to be on here. I love what you're doing, and just kind of having a platform to get these types of discussions out there is it's above and beyond. It's what our field needs. So hopefully we'll do many more of these.
Appreciate it, man. Can't wait for the next one.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, man. And a huge thanks to TD Athletes Edge's Tim DiFrancesco for helping us out and sitting down and being so open, honest, and candid with us today. Guys, just killer stuff. A guy who's been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and now is starting another adventure, sharing everything with us. I can't thank Timmy enough for being so open, honest, and candid with us today. And as always, guys, if you did enjoy the talk, please share it through the social media outlet of your choice. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it may be. If you know someone who could take something and it could help them be a better coach from this talk, email it to them, DM it, tag them on the link, guys. We're just trying to get the best information out there possible to all the great coaches out there. And make sure you tap each one of those links and each one of those URLs below so you can follow everything that Timmy's doing. They're putting out great stuff, guys. Timmy, can't thank you enough. Absolutely fantastic. And as always, guys, thank you for everything you do for us here at Central Virginia Sport Performance. We will be back next week with another awesome guest. We will see you then.